Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalam ala nabina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabi ajma'in. Inshallah, today I'd like to talk about a topic: African American religious men, marriage dilemma. And this particular topic, alhamdulillah, it's a topic that is amongst a lot of African American brothers, African Caribbean brothers in America. A lot of our discussions about marriage and the marriage dilemma. In this particular discussion of this video, some of the dilemma of African American Muslim men who are religious looking for marriage or in marriage. Some of the dilemma or the cause that arise that trouble many African American men who are religious, marriage dilemma in this country and outside this country, US, other Western countries. There's a lot of stigma. There's a lot of stigma in general in the Muslim community, as in the society that we live in, Muslim and non-Muslim, related to black men. A lot of these dilemmas, a lot of these stereotypes of African American men, it affects us inside the community and outside the community, meaning that how people see us as black men. Most of the dilemma that we have is dealing with the stereotype of racist white people, how they stereotype black people, and how within our own community, Muslim community, the Muslims in general have these stereotype ideas about black men due to TV, due to media, due to new things like the news, so on and so forth. For example, I will speak for example, many years ago in the masjid, majority Pakistani, and it would say, why the black men here don't work, in the community here don't work. And they used to tell this to one of my companions who happened to be Haitian, who was black, and he worked for them for a little while in their organization. And I said to him, man, you need to say something. You need to stop being shy. You need to say something, right? And he used to ask him, why these brothers coming to masjid not working? Well, he working for the organization. We would find that the organization was helping the majority of the people they was giving donations to, or majority of their own peoples. The majority of the people that was going in, giving them and helping them, who the organization made the organization to help people, Muslims in need, were their own peoples, not living outside the U.S., but right there in their own community, who they was giving, who they made the organization for them. So the black people that they seen coming to the masjid begging is because the masjid is known for giving people donations. So just like their own people would ask for money on the down low and they would give it to them, of course black people who are in need were going to come and ask also. But because a lot of the Muslims have these stereotypes of black people, many of them can't see past that due to their racism. So some of the dilemmas about marriage, or black people marrying, or black men who are religious, some of the dilemmas with us with marrying, the first dilemma for many of us in marriage is marrying from our own peoples and marrying from outside the Muslim, outside our ethnic group amongst the other Muslims. What a dilemma is from amongst our own selves or amongst our own people is our women. Most brothers I find out who are educated, have a decent degree, have a decent job, who are living with other, who are working, and their wives are actually working also. Some of the dilemmas with this is that the brothers tell me that their wives are competing with them. And this is not happening outside of the African American community. For example, you go to the Muslim Asian community, whether the woman is educated or not, or have a high education or not, and they do have many women who are educated, their women are not, they're not competing with them. And the reason why that African American brothers and sisters in their marriage, that the women are competing with the men, is due to we live in a society where the black household has been destroyed by white supremacy. And if you're not black and you're not American, please don't comment and say this, that, because the majority of you don't know what you're talking about. You're not black, you don't live in America, you don't understand nothing about our struggles. Just like somebody would come to me, talk about Philistine and what the Yahudi is doing to them in Philistine, I would never argue with him about this because he's the one being oppressed. So I never argue with him because I'm not in his shoes. I don't have nobody shooting no rockets at me. I don't have nobody burning down my house, kicking me out my house. I have nobody kicking me out my land. But at the same time, when black people talk about their discussions and their struggles, don't put your 2 cents in it because you're not in our shoes. And majority of these people who put their 2 cents, you wouldn't even marry somebody to your family, to somebody who's black like this anyway. So a lot of the structure of the black home in America due to white supremacy, and one of the structures of white supremacy is to prevent blacks as getting the economical hold or handhold in this country. So they had, you can notice that white people have seen, for example, in the U.S., in the islands around the U.S., in the Caribbean islands, when white people bought slaves there and the slaves outnumbered white people, that in many of the cases, the slaves rebelled and kicked the white colonialists out the country. A good example is that if you look at the struggle or the history of Haiti, how Haiti, the blacks in Haiti, who not the original people were there, the native, the white people, Europeans, the French, they brought, between the French and the Spaniards, they brought black people from Africa to Haiti. The people who were people who were the natives there, they killed them out. They wiped them out. They worked the people so hard, they killed them, so they bought slaves. It was between the French and the Spaniards. I believe it was the Spaniards first, and the French ran them out. When the French ran them out, they had the black slaves, and the black slaves outnumbered them, and the black slaves took over Haiti and ran them out. You have other places like this, like in Jamaica, where the African people, the African who were slaves who were brought to this country, when they outnumbered their slave master, they ran the Europeans out their country. Eventually, they rebelled and ran them out. So in America, white people were a little bit more smarter than that. And they understood that if the black people have a good stronghold, that maybe one day they would seek revenge for what they did to them. So in 1978, and to this day, the white supremacy related to the black family, black struggle, is still there. It's still there. Some of the things, the elements they put there to divide us are still there in 2017. It's still there. When the thing is, they decide is just to destroy the home. If you destroy the husband and the wife, the home, if you make them to be not balanced, then it won't last. Basically, it won't last. So one of the things that you'll find due to this, that black people, we don't have an economic stronghold in this country, and not at all. Right? Majority of the wealth, not even 50% of the wealth. Not majority, not even 50% of the wealth in the U.S. is not held by blacks in this country. And that is by design. That's not by accident. That's not due to black people are ignorant or don't want to do nothing. These type of stereotypes they put out there about black people, it was by design by the government and white supremacy and the government, knowing that one day if black people get the strong hold of economics, they will seek revenge for what white people did to them. So they make sure they put certain things, certain type of things, certain institutes in the country to prevent black people from getting a stronghold in this country. One of the things or the ways they attack black people is financially and mentally. Financial and mentally. So the financial struggle as black people build America, how to decide to destroy the black man or the black home is separate between the man and the woman. Even Shaitan, if you read a hadith related to about Shaitan, that one of the shayateens will come to him and said he did such and such. And the Shaitan would say, you haven't done nothing to him. And then one of the jinns or the shayateen would come to him and say, I was with them until they argue or they bicker until they separate from themselves. and I got them to separate from each other, and the shaitan, it said the shaitan, little shaitan, the big shaitan start dancing like this, right? Or they was happy like this. And I'm just paraphrasing, right? So we know that, for example, shaitan, he knows about dividing the husband from the wife. Don't think that white supremacy or humans can't do this. Don't think that human beings can't do this, because you have the shaitan from ins. So one of the things that white people understood who control white supremacy is to destroy the family structure. If you want to destroy the people or keep the people weak, destroy the family structure. So they attacked the family structure, but number one, they attacked the finance. Two, then they attacked the family structure. Because if you can't have two people in the household, a man and a wife, if you have one of them outside the household, then the children are not going to be raised balanced. Being balanced is having both spouse, mother, and father in the house. So, through the financial struggle and separate the man from the woman, in the government you will find, in the U.S. government, in society, that they push more for a black woman to get educated. They push more for the woman to get educated. So that leaves the woman getting more educated than the man, or having more money than the man. So you find in a home structure, the black man and the black woman, that the woman is competing now with her husband. If I go to somebody who's Arab, if I go to somebody who is African, from Africa, if I go to somebody who is Asian, like from Pakistan, Bangladesh, the woman is not competing with her spouse. If I go to the non-Muslim, who are white, the white man, his wife is not competing with him over finances in the household. The woman is not competing with them. They understand structure. They understand about the household structure. Even if the woman have more money than him, they're not competing over finances. Rather yet, they're working together. So in Afro-American culture, as many brothers who are married, black American brothers, religious brothers that I have met, educated brothers who I have met, or more educated than me, many of them in their marriages to other black American women, this is the number one issue that a lot of them have. Number one, the woman is competing with him. They're not working together. The woman is competing with him. As one of my companions told me, that his wife, he has a job. I don't want to give his job description just in case some people on Facebook know him, but he described to me that he has a degree and his wife was able to get her master's. And she keep on telling him how much money she's making, and she's competing with him. He's telling me she's competing with him. And he told her one day, listen, you're only able to go get your master's degree in college because I have to work. He said, I take my bachelor's degree and I have to provide for you and my children in the household. And because I don't ask you to contribute anything, this is why you're able to go get your master's degree. This is common fitna in African American Muslim marriages. Once he said this to me, and I said to myself, this is real, no? And I'm saying to myself, the brother's his wife, I know who she is. I was like, I would never suspect her to act like this. He's telling me this is the reality of many of these sisters who are educated. So in the African American home, whether it's Afro-American or Afro-Caribbean, it's the same. In America, the woman is competing in the household. So you have a lot of African American men who want to have a good degree or a good job or have some wealth or have some money. Many of them are not deciding to marry inside our own culture. We want to go outside our culture. So there are solutions for this Islamically. But I don't want to talk about all the solutions for them, because a lot of the problems is the problem of understanding some it's here. The problem is here. The problem is here. And the other problem is lacking understanding this, the Quran. And this is where the solution comes from, right? So the lack of understanding in Afro-American culture related to marriage, especially on the woman's side, because you'll find a lot of sisters who are educated, have their bachelor's degree, have their master's degree, have their PhD, and they are single. Tons of them. There's so many of them. I find many sisters who have their masters and they hire the education. She has no husband. Many times they have high education and they have no husband. There's cases they do have husband. They are married and they have successful marriage because they understand that marriage is not competing with each other. But many other cases, they have their PhD, they have their master's degree, they have their high-paying job, and they are not married and they can't keep a marriage. They end up getting married, but they can't keep a marriage. And I'm not talking about from this one example, the brother where he's telling me. There's many examples of this with many of Muslims. Even I have a companion of mine, he has his PhD. He's from Senegal. He has his PhD in mathematics. All right, he's doctor. And he was telling me that he married an African-American sister and it wasn't working. It just wasn't working. The sisters, they be in their own world. And I told her, she's not too bright. She's not too smart. She's educated like him, but he has the higher education. I said, she's not too bright. She's not thinking using their head because their degree don't benefit them. Their degree don't teach them how to think. Their degree don't teach them Islam. So I said she's going to have to learn the hard way because she's going to find a brother like you is very rare. Brother got a PhD in mathematics. He had a very good job. So a brother like this, he's very rare. And this is a good guy, man. This guy, he's religious. He's a good guy, man. He's not like these guys you see on TV. You see the guys on TV, they cheating with the woman. They got 2 or 3 women, all these kids everywhere. This is reality. He's not one of these guys. I said, you are very rare. You are rare amongst black people in America. You're very rare. I said, she's not too bright here, but alhamdulillah, he eventually end up remarrying her. Or alhamdulillah, end up remarrying her. So a lot of African American women, their degree don't benefit their marriages. They might benefit them when they come to the economics. But economical structure in Islam, it is built upon the society and the community. If you read the life of the Prophet ﷺ, his wives were not competing with him. The Prophet ﷺ was married to Khadija radiallahu anha, Umm Mu'mineen, the mothers of the believers. Khadija radiallahu anha, Umm Mu'mineen, the mother of the believers, she was very wealthy. Very wealthy. And she married the Prophet ﷺ before an-Nabuwah, before prophethood was given to him. Was she competing with the Prophet over finances? Matter of fact, she married him due to his manners and his etiquettes. And he was doing some business with her. And as you know, as Amin, the trustworthy. But the Prophet ﷺ wife, Khadija, radiallahu anha, was not competing with him with economics. So some have to ask, where does this come from in our culture, in black American culture? Where does this come from? And I'm telling you where it comes from. If I go to Africa or Africans, their women not competing with them. Now, women might bicker over money, and don't take women bickering over money or wanting money as her competing with you. No, I'm not talking about this. If you go to Africa or Africans, whether they're Muslim or not Muslim, they understand family structure. Because colonialism has affected Africa, meaning taking out their economics, taking out the natural resources from the country by them going over there and influencing their governments and lying and cheating. But it's not like the blacks within their country. Now within America, blacks in America, as I said before, where did this come from? Well, the woman is competing with the man. This come from that after slavery in America, white people, or the government, it's better to say the government, didn't give the black people any reparation. Meaning that the black people who made these companies rich, cotton, rice, sugarcane, tobacco, they made their wealth off of slavery, free labor. Many big companies that even exist today, I'm not talking about tobacco, other companies huge companies today who ancestors were in this country who got rich, they made their riches off of slavery. So-called when black people were freed, they wasn't given a economical assistance, meaning they wasn't given none of this wealth. Neither was they given opportunity to wealth. For example, when white Europeans came to this country, they came here for the American dream. Was what 40 acres in the mule. That's what they say. 40 acres in the mule is what they promised black people. No. That's what they gave the immigrants when they came to this country. 40 acres in the mule and free labor, slaves. When black people were freed from slavery, they wasn't given no economical assistance. Many black people, when they came out of slavery, many of them went back to work for the plantation for low wages, and eventually the money got stolen from them, and white people tricked them, and they made it into the legal system where black people came out of the plantation into the prison where they was working for free to little sense. So black people was never gave any financial help, as in immigrants got. Talking about white immigrants. I'm not talking about immigrants who's coming now recently to the country. And even they are giving some things over black people in America. So in that sense, since they was not able to get any economics because the white people, due to white supremacy, and they understood what was happening around in the West Indies, as when black people take over and ran the Europeans out, they didn't want black people to get this economical uphold, because they didn't want black people eventually fighting them and running them out of our country, which they slaughtered millions of people to get this country. They slaughtered the Native American. They slaughtered these people. You think they slaughtered these people just to give up this country to others? So they slaughter all these people. They oppress all these people to get this country and to have this country. For sure that these people is not going to be stupid to give these people who they enslaved, they murdered them, they treated them like animals. For sure they're not supposed to give them an economical hand over them. So this is when you find black people, because they didn't have this economics as the whites had, and today they have, or the immigrants, the white people they was bringing into the country then, they wasn't given no economical structure, any money, no wealth, no reparation, nothing. So black people start competing with each other for money. They didn't have no money. They start competing with each other for money. And what I mean by competing, in some sense, when the black people had their own business, had their own community, because only blacks were dealing with blacks, they had family structure to have these things. And the white men seen this as a threat. White people, the government, and its peoples, poor white people, seen this as a threat. Oh, black people able to do economics amongst themselves. There's a very famous event in history, I believe in Ohio or Oklahoma, where there was a city and town of black people, due to segregation, separating blacks from white. Black people made an economical structure for themselves, and the white people killed them, destroyed their whole town, because the black people was doing better off economically than whites. They killed them off. They took planes, they took helicopters, planes, and dropped bombs and stuff on their houses, on their business. And this is part of world history. If you look up the event, it's called Rosewood. They even made a movie about it. And the movie doesn't depict the whole picture really happened. It was worse. They burned their peoples, they killed them, they burned their business and stuff, just because the black people was doing better than them economically. So, white men start understanding, if black people could use their brains and get money, let's throw them off a little bit. How are you going to throw them off? Separate the man from the woman. If black people are already struggling economically for wealth, let's give the woman better education than the man. Let's give the woman better pay and education than the average man from among them. And let's take some of the men and get free labor. prison system. Black American men are the majority in the prison across the United States. In the state I live in, New York State, black people are the majority in prison in New York State. But we barely make, as a whole, as black people, we barely make 50% of the population in New York State. But we are the majority in prison. And this goes all across the United States. That black people are the majority in prison, but we're not even half of the population. But we are the majority in prison. So they understand, you take the men, you put them in prison, and you take the women from amongst them, get them educated. So you have few men out there, majority of the women out there getting educated, then the family structure, economic structure is not balanced. So the man's going to feel away naturally. The woman, she's a higher status than him, and he can't get a job, and he gets the same education, or he can't get the same job, or he can't get a job, or he can't get the job because he has a felony, he has a record, and he put all the emphasis on the women, and that's why the women are competing with the men. And you feed the women these feminist ideas. A lot of African American women, Muslim and non-Muslim, have a lot of the feminist ideas in their head. And this is fed to them intentionally. This is fed to them because it destroys the structure in their household. Because the feminist idea wasn't made for a black woman. The feminist idea was not made for a black woman. The feminist idea was made for white women who want to compete with their men or wanted some rights from their men, and they really wanted to be whores. That's all it was about. That feminist movement was about white women just want to be whores. Want to sleep with who they want to sleep with. That's all it was about. Our sexual liberation. That's all it was about. And it didn't benefit the black family structure because we don't have white privilege. So a lot of African American women are fed, and Muslim women today are fed white feminist ideas, and that don't benefit the black structured family. So that's why you find in many places that a lot of African American brothers who are religious and not religious, that their marriage to black women are not successful. In many cases, it's not successful. Unless they old school, they grew up in the 50s and the 60s, that's a different story. I'm talking about that age group, 25 to 40 age group. I'm not talking about 50, 60. I'm not talking about my mother who's in her 70s. I'm not talking about my mom or her 70s. I'm not talking about those in their 60s, their late 60s. Some of them between 25 to 40. As a matter of fact, let's say age 20 to 40s. I'm talking about that age group. Because old school people, like in their 60s, they already been through that black conscious era. So they already know about white supremacy. They know how to destroy their family. They know all about that stuff. They're awakened to that stuff. Some of them. A majority of them. Right? Majority of them. Right? But my age group, I'm 30 now. I'm about to be 40, inshallah, next year, inshallah. My age group, a little bit older than me and below me, they're affected with it. Because that's all I'm hearing about it. When it comes to their marriages, it's not working, and I say, what's wrong? The guy's working, he has a job, he practices Islam, what's the problem? Oh, the woman, she's competing with the man in the house. She's competing. Every case that comes to me, I ever meet, every case that ever comes to me about black people marriage problem is the woman some way in some form is competing with the man, and she is affected with that feminist ideas, and she brings the feminist ideas into the religion. And this is why the sisters always say, my rights, my rights, my rights. No, our rights that Allah gave us. And Allah have rights that go before our rights. The rights between a husband and wife, the rights of Allah comes before. So if Allah telling the woman to be obedient, if Allah telling the men to fear Allah related to his woman, and the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam telling the man, "Khayrukum man khayru nisa'ihim," or "Khayrukum man khayru nisa'ihim," the best of you are who are best with their wives. So this understood the right of Allah comes before our rights. So the man understands he has to maintain his wife because Allah says so. Must maintain his home because Allah says so. So the woman, you have to listen to your husband because Allah says so. So many times the sister, she comes to the marriage, she don't care what Allah say. All she care, pay my bills, pay my bills, pay my bills, and come in and out the house, do what she wants. She go in and out, she go wherever she please, she hang out, she do this, she do that. All she care about the man paying her bills while she gets to make money, and she's competing with the man. She's competing with the man. Pay my bills. There's a singer, I think Beyonce, a few years ago, she had a song like that. Something about my bills, my bills, my bills. And I said, well, Lord, I see many Muslim women, black African-American sisters with this mentality in their mind, in their brains. All they care about the man paying their bills and the woman not listening to him, and she's competing with him at the end of the day. She's competing with him. Competing with him. I see a sister mad with her husband over some stuff. And he's telling her what is haram. And she just wants to do what is haram. She don't want to do what is halal. All she care about, the man paying bills. And then she even mentioned about her car notes. And I looked at her and I said to her, your car notes? He's paying your car notes too and you act like this? I said, man, I wouldn't even be married to you. I probably have been left you. He paid all your bills plus car notes and you just do what you want to do. And, you know, your money is your money. It's all about money, you making money. And the man is paying your bills. What's this? And in reality, you look at it and you sit down and you analyze all of it. Does that say, is a woman disobedient? And she can't be that ignorant about Islam? Yeah, she can be that ignorant about Islam. But it's more. It's more to it. It's more to it. It's more. Where she get these ideas from? Why is a rat race with her husband? See, blacks, we look at crime in America, black on black crime. The black on black crime is due to the rat race. We have no economical outlets. So we compete with each other. Now, for example, I come from the streets. I come from the hood, right? I grew up in the streets. I grew up in the hood. But I never really needed money. So when I ran in the streets, it's because I want to be rebellious and it was the thing to do, right? But I look at the people who was really hustlers, who were smart hustlers, that many of them came out of poverty. I mean, like poverty. So when they was a hustler, it wasn't because they wanted to see their people get destroyed. It was like their only opportunity that they had it. We had poor schools. I don't have a brilliant brain, so I don't get like scholarships to go to college. So only way out is sell these drugs. So he sell out his own people, even though he know consciously is wrong. But that's the only opportunity he had. The rat race, competing with each other, stepping on each other, just to get some money. Because black people was never given an economical opportunity. So this mentality that we sell each other out, all for $1 and for some money, the rat race, we don't think that we bring this in our home, in our relationships. The mentality doesn't change. Because our condition, financial condition, didn't change. So we bring the same mentality inside the house. Like, I'm married, right? My wife is not African American. She's from the Middle East. My wife don't compete with me over money. And my wife is from a very poor country. In her country, the people are poor. The people are dirt poor. My wife is from Egypt. They are very poor in Egypt. You know, a lot of Americans, we go to Egypt, for example, to study Islam and stuff. But many times we have no dealings with the Egyptian people. We see them, for example, we go to Cairo, we see them as liars and cheats. But when I lived in Egypt, my time there, I said, you know, I really want to learn the language, the religion. Let me stay away from American people and let me go stay with Egyptian people. And I got to learn they really are poor people. They're very poor people. So my wife doesn't struggle with me. And I used to say, why my wife, she doesn't compete, my wife doesn't compete with me with money. And I used to say to myself, why my wife doesn't compete with me with money compared to the black woman? We both come from poverty, for example. And I sat down and I thought, okay, Egypt been colonialized. Okay, They've been colonialized. How long the British was there? The British was there for a long time in Egypt. Colonialism still affects Egyptian people. But I said, why are they women? You know, the women are not like the women here. We both come from poverty. Well, the woman is taken care of in Egypt. That's due to Islam. In any Arab country, whether they're rich or poor, it's understood in the Sharia of Allah, the woman is taken care of, right? Everything. And the government makes sure the woman is taken care of, for example. In America, okay, it's not an Islamic country. Okay. Why our women is not like their women? Some would say, well, they were not put under the same circumstance. Their circumstance like not our circumstances in America. Okay, we've been colonialized. America been colonialized. White people come in here, that's colonialism. That's part of colonialism. The oppression on black people. Okay, whites oppress other people who are non-African, but non-blacks, but not whites. They oppressed. Indians, they oppressed. Arabs, they oppressed. Some indigenous people from certain countries and islands, they're oppressed. Okay. But I listen and look at Egyptian, right? I lived in Egypt. And I said, okay, look at other Arab countries. I've been to Morocco. I said, okay, Morocco's been under the French. But their women don't compete with the men. But they're poor in Morocco. I said, okay, let me sit and let me think. Let me evaluate. There's a difference between all of them and us. I said, there's a difference. Okay, Saudi. They've been colonialized too in Saudi by the British. Colonialized. Palestine was colonialized by the British too. Some Arab countries colonialized by the Italians and French. So I said, okay, what's the difference between their struggle and our struggle? Sudan also by the British, right? I said, the difference between them, they ran their European colonialists out their countries. They ran the colonialists out their country. They ran them out. Killed them, shot them, fight them, war. They ran them, eventually they ran them out their country. So they ran their structure out their country. In some sense, because some of these countries still affected with the colonialist government and stuff like that. Egypt is definitely still influenced by the French government, who they still have the French system of government still in their country today. And that's why they're always going to have problems in Egypt. But they ran the physical, being physically oppressed or controlled by them, they ran them out their country. So their own peoples run their country. Okay. So in America, us black people, or being Muslim, we don't run our own government. That's number one. So we still are under a form of, we say, oppression. The form of oppression that we're under right now is not like how it was in slavery. Don't think people tactics don't change. Don't think people tactics of fighting don't change. Tactics and fighting changes. If I can win a war just by spreading rumors or dividing the people and I don't have to physical fight, if I could use this tactic and the tactic's gonna come out well, for sure we're gonna use this tactic. And it's being used on us in many cases. So a lot of the dilemmas of the religious brothers, African American brothers who are religious and getting married is, how do I find a spouse? Can I marry from my own peoples? Because in a sense, if we don't marry these women from our own people, who's going to marry them? Let's be real. No one's going to want to marry them with that attitude. Let's be real. You know, I hope some sisters see this video are going to say they don't believe what I'm saying, but they're not going to say, oh, I don't know what I'm talking about. But why there's a lot of you sisters out there, man? You got your bachelors, your masters, and your PhD, and you still can't get married. You still can't keep a marriage. Something is deeply wrong, and you can't keep on saying it's the black man the problem, because I find many sisters who have these degrees, and they go marry somebody outside from different nationality, and their marriage is still not working. Matter of fact, the foreigner going to leave you in a hot second, because in this country, if you come from a country where the women don't act like that, or not competing with them, there's so much he's gonna take. If he need a green card from you, he's gonna go through the crap with you to get this green card. He's gonna go through the crap to get the green card from you. And so when he got the green card or the citizenship from you, then he's gonna disappear. Because he got something out of it. He can take your words, he can hear your nonsense, and he go back and get a woman from his country. So they would take that stuff from you. But in reality, who's really gonna marry sisters like that? Us. Some of the fault is on us, but that's a topic for another day. How some of the fault, why they like this, is on us. Because we left our women out there like that. We at fault. There's some things we can't blame government and we can't blame people. We gave the women okay to do what they want to do and things like that. But in America, men don't have grasp over his woman. Even the white man. The white man in America right now, he don't got control over his woman. The white man in America, he used to have control over his woman. And now, white man, he don't have control over his woman, but his woman don't compete with him. He don't got control over her, but she don't compete with him. And the white man, as long as you don't mess with his money, he don't care. You can mess with his woman, you can mess with whatever, you don't mess with his money. So us, African Americans, how are we going to be married and we still have the rat race? I think any brother who's getting married, especially African American brothers, you getting married to a woman, you have to sit down and really see this sister. Does she understand this psychological warfare with white supremacy that still exists in America? So you have a lot of Muslims in America who don't think this thing is real. White supremacists, white racism don't exist, especially the foreign Muslims. They don't think they don't exist. That's why they're hurt by Trump. That's why they're shocked by Trump. Me as a black man, I'm not shocked. That's how white people really think. Many foreign Muslims, they come to this country, they're like blind. They only see money, 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 money. That's all they see is money. Okay, labas. Everybody come for America is for money. That's a topic for another discussion. But you think these white people like you? You don't see American political games and agendas? You don't see it? If you say that America goes around the world destroying other people's country because they let you in and make some money, you think they really care about you? That's a topic for another day. It's a topic for another day. But back to black African American brothers who are religious, some dilemmas we have with marriage. That's only one issue. That's about our women. And I think our women and their issues, I think if you really want to sit down and marry a black woman, you need to see where she's at with her religion, her deen, her stance on the marriage, and how much you really know about white supremacy. And if you don't know about white supremacy, wallahi, you need to go yourself learn about it. Because when I was growing up as a kid, my mother was from Mississippi, right? And my mom was a single woman raising me. And my mother, she grew down south. She grew up on cotton fields. My mom came to New York when she was 18 years old. And my mom worked for the Navy for 27 years. She worked for the Department of the Navy. And my mom, when I was a little kid, my mom used to teach me about black history. Especially my mom being from down south. My mother grew up through the Jim Crow laws. But my mom said when she grew up, they don't see white people. White people wasn't in their neighborhoods, so they didn't really see no lynching and none of this stuff. Because black people was doing business with black people, right? But it did exist. So when she came to New York, then she really started seeing white folks for what they really are. She said when she came to New York, she started seeing white folks for what they really are. So when I was a little kid, my mom used to always teach me about white supremacy. I used to read books on Malcolm X when I was a little kid. Malcolm X, Martin Luther King Jr., Thurgood Marshall, Langston Hughes. I used to read about black people. My mom used to make me read these books when I was a little kid. And my mom used to tell me how white people really are. And I used to think this woman just talking, just to be talking. Until I start going to schools with white people or white people's schools and I start seeing all that stuff she was telling me is true. So my advice that a lot of us African American Muslims, we need to start being conscious of the environment that we live in because we're too relaxed. We're too relaxed. And what I mean that we're too relaxed, here, we don't know what's going on here. What's going on outside in society, and here, we don't know what's going on. We can't see things. We think this is just the case when a woman act like this in our culture. We think it's a norm. This is the behavior of the black woman. even amongst my own opinions and my own associates, we sit down and talk, right? So in our discussion, it's about Islam, Sunnah, As-Salafiyya, about the Moshaykh, about the Kalam, about the Moshaykh, the Khutub Islamiyya. We talk about, Islamic things. We talk about Salafiyya Dawah. We talk about some Moshaykh. We talk about some books. We talk about all these type of topics. But we always talk about women, marriage. We black. Let's be real. Black man, we want 2-3 wives. That's natural. We come from Africa. In Africa, it's norm to have 2-3 wives. That's a norm. That's where we come from. That's what we are. So we talk about these topics and marriage topics. And a lot of the marriage topics, now my peers, they're not all my age. My peers talk about marriage, they're under my age. I'm 39, a little bit younger than me. The brothers older than me, they're not talking about marriage too much. Because they already married, they already got kids, they got grandkids. My age group, they're already married. They already settled in, been married 10 years, 20 years to their wives. My age group and up. So not really talking about marriage. I'm like shifting. My age group now, I'm shifting from being a shab to being somebody who is kabir fi amr, huh? I'm shifting to be somebody who's older than age now, right? So I'm in the in between now. I'm in the in between age group now, right? So most of my peers talk about the women, because I'm like 39, I'm about to hit 40, right? Talk about, okay, I want to get another wife, I want to get married, and we talk about some of the issues with black women, because we see a lot of brothers going through a lot of problems with black women. Now, I can understand that brothers not working, don't have a job. I can understand the legit excuse of the legit woman's anger on the guy who's not married. I can understand that. That's something not questionable. That's something that's understood. He's not working, he's a bum, and he's not working, and her complaints and her being mad and her being upset is legit. It's legit. It's legit. It is legit. But majority of the cases, it's the brothers got money. The brothers are working, have degree, are educated, and they going through this drama with these women, these black women. And I have to sit down and analyze it. Then it can't be the man's fault. All of it is not the man's fault. You listen what's going on in the house, you listen to the conversation, the women are competing with the men. And they trying to, I'm going to throw an extra one in there, because I'm seeing it more now. The women are competing with the men. On top of that, they are dogging the men out just for finances. They're just dogging the man out. Like the brother told me his wife is competing with him. She's boasting how much money she make more than him. He's like, yo, this woman competing with me. He's like, yo, I gotta pay the rent. You don't pay no rent. He said, you don't pay the rent in the house. You don't buy no food. You don't buy no clothing for my kids. I buy all of this stuff. I'm the reason why you're able to go to college. And you come home and compete about how much money you make and this and this and that. You're not putting nothing in the table. These are real scenarios. It's not this only brother scenario. These are real scenarios with the African American woman. And I said it's the rat race. It's the rat race. There's something wrong from here. It's the feminist ideas mixed with white supremacy, destroying the black home. They bring all of these things to the marriage. And us brothers, we are also guilty. We are guilty. We are guilty. And the reason why that many of us, we are guilty, as me and my companions, you talk about it, while many of us who fall in this are real guilty, we don't know nothing about our history. We don't know about our history in America. We don't know about black people's struggle from the past to our struggles today. And then we marry a sister who's not conscious about none of these things. And she might actually be a victim of this thing, the system, these ideas. She might be a victim of it. And you need to really sit down and talk to the sister before you even marry and ask her, does she have conscience about what's going on? Not just about the Islamic perspective. And some brothers don't even ask the woman about the Islamic perspective of her understanding of the religion and practice of religion. A lot of us brothers don't understand that. And every Muslim sister, our women, they all know about what the rights of the women, but they don't know the rights of the man. They only know the man has to pay money. She don't know what her duties are. She don't even know her duties to her children are. She think all the duties to the children is the man financially. She don't know what her duties are. Because she ain't got no time to study no deen. And she got her master's and her PhD. What time she got to study deen? And I'm not belittling education now. So you need to sit down and talk before you just engage in marrying a woman about all these. They need to engage and talk about all these things. They need to engage. And she understand what are the ideological attacks against Islam and what are the ideological attacks against African Americans in America. I met a sister, two sisters, not black. I met two sisters in the past. One white, one Asian. They both are married to black men or were married to black men. So in my discussion with these women, some of them go through some real struggle. Now this is the second part of my talk. Some dilemmas for the African American men when it comes to marriage. Now when you marry outside your race, you marry somebody who's not black, there are some dilemmas also. Now, in two of these scenarios, in these discussions, listen to some problems without giving any names or deep details, and I want to get people's business out there. But I met two sisters, both married to black men. Now, one of them was married to an African American man. And I said, ask, they're not married no more. And his sister, her children, she don't have custody of the children. The father does. But all the things she complained about the man is his finances. And I say, it don't make sense. If a man who has no job, his finances, how he get custody of his kids? That's the first thing that came in my mind. I said, in this government, in the country we live in, they always give the woman rights over the men. They give the custody to the mother before the man, before the father. They give the custody to the woman before the father. So this sister who's Caucasian had to sit down and analyze. There's something not right here. So another dilemma brothers need to know about. And I'm not talking about you can't marry white, you can't marry this, you can't marry that race. This is not what the topic's about. There's some things that you need to know about. So the sister had to really sit down and analyze. She's Caucasian. So I live in a place where majority of Muslims are Caucasian before. I lived outside the U.S. before. And I lived in a place most of the converts to Islam are white, not black. And in that scenario, I got to learn a lot about white people and their culture and marriage and intermarriage, interracial marriages and stuff like that, because it's common in Canada, right? Because majority of the whole population of Canada anyway are immigrants anyway. Majority of the people in Canada, majority of them are immigrants. So to sit down and analyzing the sister situation, and I had to figure it out. See, there's another thing brothers don't want. So brothers would say they want to marry outside their race. These are things you need to be aware of. So I asked, I said, you know what this problem black men have getting jobs? Do you understand the black people in general experience and history in America? And the sister, she's not American. She's white, but she's not American. I said, you really don't she said, oh yeah, I understand this, I understand. I said, no, you don't understand. I said, if you're taking a man to court and all of this and these things, I said, do you really understand the stuff black people have to go through in this country? And then she said some things, what she want financially. I said, okay, if you knew the man, you need these things financially, why do you marry this man? If you knew that the black man, he is oppressed in this country, black people don't get certain type of rights, black people don't get certain type of privileges, you're not going to get any type of job, you're white. I said, if you're going to marry a black person, you need to know what are the struggles of black people. I said, because what you complaining about is that you're white and you're white privilege and you're used to living white privilege. And you're married to a black man who is not white privilege. And now you're upset and you want to go to court and put this man through this court stuff and this court system because you're white privilege and you're mad because your husband don't get the privilege as white people. I said, go marry somebody who is Muslim, who got money, who is white or Arab or Asian, who don't have any discriminations when it comes to making money. And she's like, no, because she wants the black experience. No, she wants the black man for a reason. I don't want to mention what it is because most of us know what I'm talking about. She wants the black man for one of these things, something else. It's not about his finances. And I said, then that's your problem. You need to put your deed and what you complain about before that. Because if you leave in the man, it's not over that thing, which is in her mind is sexually, it's over his finances, then you need to marry somebody who is financially, who's white privilege like yourself, or who does not looked at as being an odd in his own country, you need to marry one of these peoples. So that's another scenario. And then sometimes even you go outside your race within America, outside your race, even with Caucasian. I'm not saying not to marry Caucasian. This is not the topic, because in Islam, there's difference between the Arab and the non-Arab, black or white. But there's another scenario that black men you have to think about. If you marry somebody who's white, even in America, I lived in Canada before, and I said majority of converts in Canada are all white. That you're gonna be, the chances are that that woman is gonna have family members who hate black people, who might walk around their house, or the kids go visit them, and it might come up a few times, that word, nigga, is gonna come up in their house. Brothers don't talk about that. But that's another reality. That yes, this sister, I love her for the sake of Allah. She's Caucasian, I'm not Caucasian. I love her for the sake of Allah. But she has racist family members who hate black people. And it's going to be another cause for divorce, because I have met brothers who marry white women, were good white women, good sisters, mashallah, but couldn't take the racism from their family. That's a whole nother ballgame. But there's a lot of white people who are not racist, I'm talking about Canada. And some people think Canadians are less racist than white people in America. Don't believe the hype. Don't believe the hype. I lived in Canada before. Trust me, you got racist white people in Canada. Trust me. Montreal, the east coast of Canada, east side. The guy ran up in the masjid. The white guy shot up all the Muslims in the masjid. Oh yeah, you got racism in Canada. You got racism in Canada, for sure. So don't think that, if you marry somebody Caucasian, it's not going to happen to you. Now, white women are a little bit more submissive than some black women. But, white people have their own culture. It's very different from black culture. Even if you grow up in the same neighborhood. This the black people experience. It's not like white people experience. But Islam comes to supersede all these things at the end of the day. So brothers, if they really sit and think, some of our dilemmas in getting married, the whole picture. Now, some brothers, I set an example, two sisters, right? So I met another sister many years ago, Asian, Indian Asian. And because Asian, like Filipino, Indonesian, those good women, mashallah. Those are good people, mashallah. I don't see a lot of racism from these people. They're very good people, mashallah, very submissive people. This culture is very good people, man. Asians, Indonesia, Malaysia, there's very good people, man. There's very good people, mashallah. But I met people, Pakistan and Bangladeshi, and I had some of my companions married to people who are Pakistan and from Bangladesh. So I met a sister from one of these countries. I don't want to mention its name. And she happened to be married to somebody who was black. And I didn't know. I understood that the Pakistanis, they hate black people. And you got to understand that the Muslims from India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, before they was Muslim, they was Hindus. In the Hindu culture, they have what we call the caste system. Right? The lowest of the class, the darker you get, the lower the class you come. So the lowest class were called the untouchables. The untouchable were the black, dark Indians. They were called the untouchables. No one could marry them. Now they claim that when the British came, they killed that stuff out. Truth is, British themselves, they're racist. So nothing's going to be dealt with any British, because white British, they are racist themselves. Colonialism is based upon racism and white supremacy anyway. When Islam came to them, Bangladesh, India, Pakistan, and the Muslim ruled. The Muslim ruled this part of the world for a time, especially, India. That a lot of the people who converted to Islam, if you study a little bit of history about Islam when they went to India, were the people from the lower class that was disliked by the higher class of the people. Some of them, these people, were the first people to come to Islam from them. But despite all of these things, to this day, it exists with them racism. Now, how I know? Because I have Pakistani and Bangladeshi friends, men, friends, and they tell me straight up, The peoples are racist. They tell me straight up, you will never be able to marry one of them. These are the racist culture things they have in the culture. And they despise black people. Even look down at their own peoples who are dark skinned. So they look down at their own people who are dark skinned. What are they gonna do about you, who are American, African American? What are they gonna see about you? You're not even from them, and they hate their own people who's dark skinned. What about you? Now, I remember my sister once told me she was married to somebody who was black, and their marriage didn't work out. And she told me how her family hate her kids. Her own family hate her kids. She told me that her own father had never met her kids, and her kids are somewhat big in their age, not like newborn babies, big in their age. So I haven't met their children. I remember a companion of mine who's black Guyanese from Guyana. And he told me he was married from a sister from Pakistan who was a doctor. And he's like an engineer, right? Computer engineer. Right now, he's something else right now. He's like into scuba diving. I think his degree is in geography. He went to change his skill, right? He's an older brother. He's not a young guy. And he told me he was married to a sister from Pakistan. And I know with him, his marriages don't last usually, right? So I said, okay, I'll take some things he's going to tell me for grain of salt. But when he told me that her family, and he said how he got married to her was a sheikh who was from Africa. And the community was living in the sheikh, he had a lot of knowledge, mashallah, tabarak. And the sheikh had a way of speaking with peoples that, the sheikh was really on the sunnah. Rahimahullah, he passed away in the 90s. He was young in his age also. The sheikh had a lot of knowledge and had very good manners. And they had this African sheikh, imam, in one of these Pakistanis masjid. They really had a love for this guy. He said this is how he was able to get the woman in the first place. He said because the sheikh, they really loved the sheikh. So he said the sheikh was trying to deal with their racism. So the sheikh told one of them to marry him, the brother who was black, to one of them who was a doctor, Pakistani. He said they married, but the brothers, I know he has marriage problem. He can't keep marriage, right? But he said that, at a time that the marriage was not going well and the sheikh was really there to, help him out. He said that somebody in her family offered her a lot of money just to divorce him. And I said, she took the money and stuff? She's like, yeah. She took the money. And then he told me that, when the sheikh died, the sheikh was young, he said, they had insurance on the guy and they wouldn't give none of the money to his wife. I said, oh, billah. He said, no. And this is not called a wakila. This is not he said or she said. He was a very close companion of the sheikh. So I said, he said they have a lot of hatred for black people in their culture. So this is another dilemma for black brothers. Because I meet some brothers who get to marry them and they have some problems in the marriage due to culture things. I just let you know, if you do decide to marry one of them, from what I observe, it's number one, you must have your money right. Because in their cases, in their culture, especially from Pakistan, they hate black people. Majority of them hate black people. And in the culture, meaning the Muslims today, in their culture is the man do whatever he wants. The man in the culture do whatever he wants, meaning he marry whoever he wants. If he marries somebody black, they would still dislike him or dislike it, but he's the man at the end of the day. If the woman marries somebody outside their race, especially somebody who is black, oh, she's the outcast. She is the whore. She is the outcast. So you got to understand something, that if you decide to marry one of these women, there's a big chance that you will have nothing to do with her family. You always have to keep that in the back of your mind. She is an outcast. Especially if the family wants you to marry her, that's a whole different story. If the family wants you to marry her, that's a whole different story. Because I met brothers like that. They come and ask the man, or the sister wants to marry them, and somebody in their family okay it, and the family's okay. I seen some black brothers, light-skinned brothers like me, get those type of women. I see some only light-skinned and money. Light-skinned and money. Those brothers, sometimes they're able to slide through some of them. Dark-skinned guys, no. The real dark, jet black brothers, most of the time, no, unless you got a lot of money. And they ask you for a lot of money up front, right? But those brothers who want to marry them and their family's like, no, because you're black and this is the situation, let you know that if you married a woman, that most likely, if the marriage don't last, that woman going to be on her own. And those kids, you know you are, brothers. You know how y'all are. You know the the woman gonna get the kids, right? Think about it. The woman get the kids. Her family have nothing to do with her. She got your kids. She is going through some stuff in her mind. Even some of the family members, as a sister told me, who's Pakistani, who told me her family even told her to dump her kids. To dump her children. To dump her children. To dump them because they black. Dump them with him, leave them. To dump them. They give her some money to go away. So a sister told me this. A sister from Pakistan told me this once. Her family offered her these things. So I'm telling you, you get involved with one of them, you still got a dilemma. You're going to still have a dilemma. You're still going to have a dilemma. And part of that dilemma is going to be is that if the woman family don't want you to marry her because you're black, and then the woman is an outcast, if your marriage don't work, your kids, think about it, your kids not never able to see their grandparents. See, me, I'm Muslim. I'm African American. My mother, she's not Muslim. But my kids could go see my mother. My wife, who was Egyptian, and they Arab, they cry over my kids, right? They cry over my kids. You know, Arab women, they spoil their children and stuff. They cry. Like I have a new son. I had a son a few years ago, another child. My wife's mother never seen him face to face. So they cry. They want to see this. Just like the rest of her grandkids and her little nieces and nephews are bad in Egypt. And no, that's my son just like that. But they cry just to see this little boy's face, right? Now imagine that your children never able to see his mother's parents because they hate him. Or the mother's father because they hate him because his skin is black. Imagine that. What type of drama, psychological, what that would give those kids. Psychologically, what that would give those children, that the mother's family doesn't want nothing to do with that child because his skin color. See, even white people, if they racism, if I marry some white woman and I have kids with her, even though they be racist, they still want to see their grandkids. They still want to see the white people. They still want to see their grandkids. Because I know I have family members who married to white people, who got, married white women, and they family a little racist, but their parents still want to see these kids. Especially when the kids might come out favored looking like one of these grandparents. This got like a permanent tan. That's all they have, nice permanent tan. They still want to see these kids. They still want to see their grandkids. They don't care about, they might care that their skin is black a little bit, might be a little bit of shame, or don't like black people, but maybe he changed up due to the grandkids. And that's with white people. So they might still want to deal with their grandchildren. But imagine being Muslim. In the case of the white scenario, the grandma, grandfather, they're not Muslim. They might be still open. They still would deal with their grandchildren. Because it's their daughters or their husband's children, right? I'm going to say their daughters or their son's children. They would deal with their grandkids, and then the mix and being black and being biracial, they would deal with it. Even they have racism with it, they just still deal with the children, right? Now imagine marrying somebody from Pakistan, one of those countries, as I mentioned, Bangladesh, they want nothing to do with your children. The child going to ask you about their grandmother, their mother's fathers, and the mother about their mother's father, their mother's mother. They're going to ask them about that. Imagine your child cannot have a relationship with them because they're black. The mother can't tell the child, hey, my father don't want to meet you because your father's black and you're black. But the child's not going to be stupid for the rest of their life. The child's not going to be a child for the rest of their life. So there are dilemmas with that. See, a lot of us, when we think about marriage, we think about our shahwa. And the shahwa means that lower sexual desire. We see the woman, she's from another country, she looks exotic. Now I'm speaking from here too. I know how I'm a man. She's exotic looking. You know how it is. Come on, we men. She's exotic. She looks beautiful. She's not what we're accustomed to seeing. She's very exotic. Wow, long hair. MashaAllah. Very exotic looking. But we don't see her parents hate you because you're a nigger in their eyes. and it will not have nothing to do with your grandchildren, we think we'll go ahead. We still will go ahead with it. Because many of us, we follow our shahwa, our lower sexual desire, and we don't see the outcome. What will going to happen to these children? Imagine you grow up to never know, you can't meet your grandparents because your skin is too black or you're black. Think about it. Or if they get hold of your kids, they will actually try to do something to them. That's real. That's a reality. You need to go look up on the internet about in the Hindu culture, because the Muslims very much affected from Pakistan and bringing this with the Hindu culture. Some of the things they do to the women there, especially in India. You know, in India, this is why I don't use this word dowry. Dowry, that's not correct word Islamically. It's called mahar. Dowry is when the man give the woman family give the man money for marriage. So in India they practice this. Even the Muslims in India and Pakistan, for places in Pakistan, they practice this. The Muslims practice this culture still. That the woman's family has to give the man money to marry. So a lot of cases in India, when the man has too many daughters, and he has to pay them this dowry now, this dowry he has to pay, and it's true, he has a whole bunch of daughters. Sometimes they kill their daughters, they kill their children. Go read it in the news. It was not like a few years ago, some man in India took his kids, his daughters, and ran them over a bridge, ran his car over a bridge with them inside the car. Because he said it's too much, he can't pay, it's too much money for him to pay for this dowry. He got all these girls. But you can't get one of them. That's the crazy thing. You can't get one of them because you're black. And I told one of them in a hot second, you darker than me. A lot of them, they darker than us. So imagine you married to that type of scenario. Even your children might not be safe around them. Unless they openly want you to marry, and that's a whole different story. So some of the issues that African American men who are religious that we have, the dilemmas we have about marriage, this is some of the dilemmas that we have. Some of them we don't talk about. Because some of us, I hear, you can see even on YouTube, Facebook, look how many African American or black Caribbean or black American or black from the UK, look how many videos brothers have out about how the Pakis don't want, or the Arabs don't want their daughters to marry black people or black men, right? And I be trying to tell some of these brothers, that could be some barakah in that from it. Allah could be saving you for some fitna. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala really could be saving you for some fitna. Don't get caught up because the woman, she looks very beautiful. If Allah doesn't right for you to marry this woman, you tell me you can't find a religious woman in your own culture? You tell me you can't go somewhere else, you can't go to Africa and get a wife? Even though Africans practice the same type of racism themselves, but that's another story about self-hate. That's something else for another day, another time. But majority of Africans are not like that. Majority of Africans, whether it's black Africans or them Arab Africans in Africa, majority of them are not like that. You go to Morocco, they like black people. You go to Morocco, they love black people. You go to Morocco, you see black people in the street. You see black Africans in the street. The majority of the culture, they accept them. All right? Egypt, that's another different story. But Egypt, a lot of places, they love black people. They have no problem with black people. There's other parts of Egypt, Upper Egypt, Said, places in Egypt I've been to. Walk down the street, some girl, hey, chocolate. In Arabic, I like chocolate. So the Egyptians, the Arab Egyptians, the Arabs in Morocco, and the Berber in Morocco, they don't have this type of issues, right? Other places in Africa, Sudanese, a little bit tribal, but Sudani, they really don't have this issue. Other places in Africa, the Muslims really don't have this issue. And sometimes the cultural, tribal things, they have some tribal things like this, but the overall, you could marry them, the overall, right? So when you cry about these things, and we make this, and this is part of the religious African or black American or black brothers from UK, our dilemmas about marriage, and we talk about how the Pakis, the Asian Muslims don't want us to marry them, forget them. Forget them. Forget them. I mean, if they want you to marry their women, the Prophet ﷺ didn't marry every woman from every race. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't bless him with that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't bless the Messenger of Allah ﷺ, who was married, who had 13 wives, between 12 to 13 wives. Majority of them are from Arab, And if there was an Arab, the only wife I can say that wasn't Arab was probably Maryam, who came from the king of Egypt. Allah didn't allow him to marry women from all different races, but all his marriages were a benefit. The Prophet ﷺ marriages have wisdom inside of them, with hikmah inside of them. Now imagine us black brothers in America, which I make this video really for myself, because sometimes my companions tell me, my close companions, when we joke around, he said, you must be the president of this club you making. I said, what club? No more African American women for marriage. I said, no, that's not the president. And I always tell him, I'm not the president of this club. What do you mean? He said, nah, I know you don't want to marry them. I said, no, it's not that. It's just the drama. It's just the drama. Personally, it's just the drama. It's too much drama. It's too much drama over the littlest, simplest thing. Too much drama makes simple things very difficulty. Too difficulty. I said, it's not that. I love them. For sure, I love them. I just don't love the drama. But I said, if we don't talk about it, how's it going to be addressed? And who's the one to address it with them? Because women sometimes need things to be sugar-coated, but sometimes we can't sugarcoat everything. I'm sorry, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran, there's nothing sugar-coated in the Quran. You know, in Lugha Arabiya, you have a word in Balagha called majaz. And but majaz is like a figurative of speech. For example, to say something in a beautiful way, but have another meaning for it, right? It's called majaz. We say with the Quran, and this is the Aqidah Aqlu Sunnah wa Jama'at, the Aqidah Aqlu Sunnah wa Jama'at, the difference between our Aqidah and the Ash'ari, the Sufi, Ash'ari is Sufi, the Mutazila, the Jahmiyyah. When it comes to the issue of majaz, there is no majaz in the Quran. This is the difference between our Aqidah Aqlu Sunnah wa Jama'at and the Aqidah of the Ash'ari, as Sufiyas, the Jahmiyyah, the Mutazila, the Qawarij. We have difference in our Aqidah. The difference from us and the Ash'ari, which is the majority of the Muslims today, Sufi, Ash'ari, Sufi Aqidah is come with, they say there is majaz in Quran. Allah talk about things for figuratively. There is no majaz in Quran. What Allah say, what He mean? There's no sugarcoating in Quran. So the sisters gotta understand, we can't sugarcoat everything for a woman for her to eat. Sometimes in our house, you must use these things in our house. Sometimes you deal with your wife, have to say sweet things. This is how the woman is. You have to use sweet, kind words with the woman. This is understood. But when Allah talks about things in Quran, there's no sweet talking. There's no sugarcoating. It just says straight up. Allah says straight up. Certain things in the Quran, you just got to accept it. Allah says the men, Allah gave the men a position over the women. Allah, He didn't make it sweet sounding. He didn't make that sweet sugarcoated that ayah in Quran. He said it what it is. Allah said that. Allah is the creator. This is when your aqidah, your beliefs come in place now. Your belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala come in place. Allah gave a man a position over the woman. Does it mean to oppress her? That's not oppressive. That means, yeah, we got to maintain the woman. We got to protect our family. Woman, you want to go out on the street and fight? You want to fight with a bunch of men? You leave your women in front of the tigers and the thieves and the crooks to be devoured by the wolf. No. Put your children in front of the places where they be attacked and harmed. No, Allah gave a man position over the women for a particular reason. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made man first. Allah made Adam, then his wife Hawa. And we need two. You need two to have a family. You need two. Man and woman, or man and women's, to have a family. That's reality. So Allah doesn't sugarcoat everything in the Quran. And there's some things that women, especially African American women and African American men, we need to understand, especially about the ideological attacks from white supremacy. Because now we have an issue where a lot of black men don't want to marry black women. We have a lot of this issue now. We have a lot of this issue. And in reality, this is the way you behave. The wild African American women, how you behave, the truth is no man from no race is going to want you. I'm just being very true. I'm just very honest. And if they want you, because they want to get the green card from you. They want to get the American citizenship from you. You already got the green card? They want to get that American citizenship, but they don't want your manners. And as soon as they get their papers and they get themselves established through your nationality, they're gonna hit the road. Because no man want a woman competing with him. Ain't no man, no civilized man want no woman competing with him. And if he marry you and you competing with him, because he need to get something from you. And he's a foreigner, he need to get something from you. So we have to deal with each other. And the brothers the same thing. The scenarios I gave you, even marrying an Arab. Arab traditionally in their cultures, depending what Arab country they are from, Arabs still have a lot of prejudice and racism with them. Even amongst Arabs, amongst them own selves, they have prejudice and racism, even amongst the Arabs themselves. For example, the Arabs of the Gulf Arabs who have the wealth due to the oil, they look down at the other Arabs. They look down at Egyptians. They look down at people from Maghreb. Look down at Yemeni. A lot of them look down on black people. That's just reality. It's just reality. Some of us, we're not ready for that. Because we put our Islam, our understanding of Islam now, and today, in 2017, is according to how Arabs think of Islam and stuff like this. Many of us know more about Arab culture than we know about our own culture. A lot of black people know more about Arab culture than they know about their own peoples, their own culture. Doesn't mean you have to be Muslim to be Arab. And some Arabs have this, some of the Arabs who are Jahil, they have this understanding. Al-Islam al-Arabi. La aqs al-lugha Arabiya. Al-Islam al-Arabi. I was in a Yemeni masjid Farouk in New York one day. And this Tablighi guy from Jamaat al-Tabligh, and I don't follow Jamaat al-Tabligh, but they was giving out some brochures for a Quranic school they have. Somewhere upstate New York. So they're trying to get donations. So this Arab guy who's Egyptian, he was saying Arabic. He doesn't know Arabic. He doesn't know I know Arabic. He was saying when the guy was giving him the flyer was in English, he said Al-Islam fi Arabi. Al-Islam fi Arabi. Yes, Islam is an Arabic language, but he didn't He didn't intend this because the Egyptian people, when they speak Arabic, especially they're not educated Egyptian or they're not religious Egyptian people who study Deen, they don't speak Arabic properly. So he's saying in his Amiyah, he was saying, oh, Islam is Arab. Arab is Islam. So because he gave him the brochure in English, asking for donations, in reality, this ignoramus, a jahil, la yafham lugha Arabiya, wa la yafham lugha Ingleziya, because they had in the flyer Arabic and English. But this jahil, he said, Ana Arab Islam. As the Arab, this is Islam. And many Arabs who are jahil, ليس مشغول بطلبهم لا يستطيع يقرأ القرآن صحيح, not able to read the Quran properly, be tajweed. This is jahil because even his pronunciation when he's speaking Arabic has a lot of wrong pronunciation due to the slang words and Egyptian dialect. What they dialect is not lugha Arabiya, as many of the ulama of Nahu who said anybody speak Arabic improperly, lahin, huwa ajami, whoever speak Arabic, even the Arab, improperly with grammar mistake, huwa ajami. He said, oh, this guy, he said, oh, Islam is Arab. So some Arabs have this understanding with them, that you're only a Muslim if you're Arab. Some of the ignorant Arabs have this understanding, and it's very common from amongst them. This is why brothers and sisters go overseas, you wear jalabiyah, you wear thobe, your name is Muhammad, they ask you, what's your name? You say Muhammad, you wearing jalabiyah, or muntaqib, but you wearing niqab, and they're going to ask you, are you Muslim? It's the most ignorant, stupid question to ask. Because in their mind, the Arab, some of them, the ignorant from amongst them, who are not tulab who are not students of knowledge, and that's the majority of them, they think Islam is only for Arab. Because many of them, They've been infected with that Arab nationalist ideas, and they themselves never traveled. They never travel outside their own village or their own country. Not even their own village or their own city, many of them, due to poverty or not having wealth and not able to travel. And this is not to belittle them, because their issues, I understand their issues because I'm married within them and I understand their issues. Their issues due to their lack of Islamic knowledge. So you have from amongst them, they don't want to marry somebody who is not, they don't want to marry somebody who's black. I was going to say somebody who is not Arab, because they would love to marry white people. They would love that. And that's part of the colonialism. Many that the Arabs have with them, even colonialism. Arabs are colonialized. That's why they don't have lihya, they don't have beard. That's why they shave their face. This don't come from Arab culture. Shaving the face does not come from Arab culture. قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم حديث البخاري خلف المشركين إفاء اللحية وجوس الشرب حلقها كما قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. The Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, he said, which is recorded, hadith recorded in Bukhari, اختلف المشركين, be different from the mushrikeen, the polytheists. إفاء اللحية, grow your beards. وجوس الشرب حلقها, and a portion of your mustache, trim it. And this hadith is sahih. So this is from the sunnah. And to shave the beard is haram. But many Arabs shave the beard. Where does shaving the beard comes from? It comes from colonialism. When it was colonialized by the French, the British, the socialists, the communists, the socialists, whatever name, capitalism, the capitalism, socialism, when they were colonialized by the European Christians, I'm saying it right, they was colonialized by the European Christians who, after losing the crusade, they changed their strategies in fighting, and it ended up colonializing the Arab country to get you away from Islam, because they knew they couldn't get you away from the Quran. They tried, or altering the Arabic language. That's why you have the Egyptians with their dialects, because inside Egyptian dialect is Turkish. So Turkish words, even some English words in the Egyptian dialect. I'd be so surprised. To get you away from get you away from Arabic, try to introduce English grammar into Arabic language. They knew they couldn't get away from the Quran, so they try to change you by changing your dress, your image. The Europeans shave their beards. They keep a butt face. This is part of colonialism. Even today, the Arabs are effective colonialism. Why do you think they press and push so much Arab nationalism? Because they're affected by colonialism. And the colonialists destroyed their countries. So the Arabs think the way to combat the European colonialist, European Christian colonialism is by spreading Arab nationalism and not Islam. And Arab nationalism love Islam because the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is an Arab. That's the only reason why they like Islam, because the Prophet ﷺ is Arab. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Oh, Arab. So a lot of Arabs are affected with colonialism, Christian, European colonialism, al-Faranja, حقيقة النصارى من أوروبا who فتر البلد العرب دورة عربي في زمان, who are the Christian colonialists who conquer the Arab country after they lost the crusade. They went back and changed their strategies. So the Arab, he has affected with him the colonialism, and he has affected with him the Arab nationalism. So they have problems with black, anybody who is not Arab, but they love white people. They love white people, so when you deal with them, you're going to be dealing with this Arab guy. If he's not a sheikh, he's not an alim, he's not talib, and even some of them have affected with it also. But he's not a person who have knowledge and fear Allah, then you're going to deal with all that stuff from them also. Except for if you get a hold, you marry one of them, mashallah, most likely, they're open peoples. Majority of them are open, but they have these things with them. But majority of them, they're not like the people from Pakistan. Their racism don't go that far. I think the Pakistani and the Indians from Southeast Asia, their racism is worse than the Arab racism, because the Arab racism is really dealing with Arab and not being Arab, but they love white people because Arabs have expressions, the jahal from them, the ignorant from them, the ignoramus from them have these expressions and stories they say. Like in Egypt, one of them told me, what's better? أفضل زواج امرأة بيضاء قبيحة أو امرأة جميلة من أسوان من أفضل. So they asked, what is better? Is to marry an ugly white woman from Europe or a pretty black woman from Aswan? Man, the afdal. What's better? Some Egyptian told me this joke one day. He thought it was funny. I said, I'm not min Aswan. The woman from Aswan. He said, لا 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 لا. امرأة قبيحة بيضاء. امرأة قبيحة بيضاء. لماذا؟ إن شاء الله كل أطفال بيض. كل أطفال منها بيض. سهل الحياة سهل بعد ذلك. He said, I said the woman from Aswan who's black, Nubi, huh? She's better to marry. I would prefer than the ugly white woman from Europe or white woman. He said, no, it's better to marry the ugly white woman because your children come out white. And this guy was laughing. I was like, this guy is stupid. This guy is stupid. That's colonialism. That's them affected with colonialism. He said this joke to me like, I find it funny and amusing. I was laughing at him because he's stupid. He think because if you have white children, you have an easy life. That's the effects of colonialism. So Arabs have this stuff with them. And the one who told me this, astaghfirullah, he was into Talibul The one who told me this was somebody into Talibul So this shows you their mentality. So Arabs gonna have that. So black men, even if you choose to marry from there, you're gonna have problems. Even though from the Arab, the poor countries from them, they're a little bit better. All of them are not racist. A lot of them are good people who love Islam, love Sunnah, and love Islam, and they really love Arabic. They love the deen. Like this, they have a lot of good people like this. And inshallah, a lot of time brothers get to marry from people like this. La bus, no problem. What I want to say is, but if we abandon our women, who's going to marry them? Who's going to marry them? And then sisters, we got to be real. African American women, inshallah. We have to be very real. I see a lot of sisters who are educated, African American women who are educated, and have too much demands. When they look into marriage, I'll be reading what they're looking for when it comes to marriage. They want a lot of things, They want the man have a job, which is a must. The man come live with them. And I always say, ain't no real man gonna live with you. When you start saying that a man come live with you, that's the first signs of problems. Why would a real man who's established, got his own place? A real man, a real black man who's established, has his own place. You don't watch Maury? I know you're supposed to be watching Maury and Jerry Springer. I know y'all be watching that garbage. You don't see all the dudes will be cheating, on their women? You don't notice? All of them be living with these women. They don't have their own place. When a woman finds out she cheated, the first thing she say is what? Get out my house. Get out my house. I don't care what ethnic group they are. They will tell you, get out my house. So you're looking for a man to marry, and you want him to come live with you? That's the first sign you're gonna get. You're gonna get yourself a sucker. You're gonna get somebody that's no good. You be setting yourself up. Because a real man who's established in his deen and his religion, and his financial situation is established, he's gonna have his own place. Ain't no man gonna go leave his castle to live in some another person's castle. No man gonna leave his domain to go live in a woman's domain. Ain't no real man gonna do that. Except in a few cases. Few situations you'll find that. But in reality, established man in 2017, a black guy who's established in most cases. I have a friend right now who married his sister, and she owns her own place. He don't live with her. And I told him, why you don't live with your wife? And he said he feels ashamed he go live with his wife. He said he feel ashamed he go live in her house. He said he feel ashamed. He said he's working to get something. He have his own place. He said he's working for something to get a situation so him and his wife can have a place together, and she can keep her place and he can keep his place, but they have a place together. He said he feel ashamed to go in her house that she owned, and her father, seeing that her father seeing him enter her house, father gonna say, why you don't got your own place? So he said he feel ashamed to go live in her house. And I was like shocked. And one of my other companions said, man, no problem. Let's go live with the woman. Let's go live with the woman, handle your business. He said, no. My friend said, no. He said he feel ashamed he go live with the woman. He said he go visit her in her place. She visit him in his place, but he's working for them to have a place together. His own place where she come live with him. And she could keep her house, and he could have his own place. And they could live together in his place, and she could have her own place on the side. But he said he's not going to live in her house. He don't feel like a man to enter her house and live in her house. He said he don't feel like a real man. I applaud him. Like sometimes he look like he be stressed out, and he said no, he's not stressed out. He's just handling his business. Hold 2 jobs, even though his wife make more money than him, and she's not competing with him. But he said he got to do what he got to do. So a real man not gonna go live with you. The guy who go live with you is looking for the opportunities, and you gave him an opportunity. So you try to add other stipulations, right? Because you know the certain type of guys they can't take care of themselves, and they want to go live with the woman. So you add on to the list now to make sure you weed out these guys, right? So you must have this, must have that, must have this, must have that, and you end up being a widow. Not widow, but on your own. You end up being on your own. On your own. And then when you find a situation, it don't last long. The first way I know, me, who I am, I always look into the woman's situation. How many kids she have? Look at their age. If she got young kids and older kids, and the first thing I say, young kids, toddlers, first thing I say, young kids, where the father at? This toddler kid like he's 2 or 3 years old. I mean, you were married that's 2 or 3 years? 2 or 3 years? And you got older kids and stuff? I look into the situation. If the man wasn't whooping her behind, putting his hands on her, beating the hell out of her, if it's not real domestic violence, like beating the hell, giving her black eyes, it's not the situation, and you're not with the husband, something is wrong. If the man he was broke when you married him, and you found him broke, and you married him broke, that's on you. You should work out your marriage. You knew he was broke. Even Islam, in the Sharia law, in Sharia, in fiqh, because we don't study deen. We don't study deen. Brothers don't study deen. And these sisters, you definitely don't study deen. You definitely don't study deen. You listen to Islamic personalities talk about women issues that soothes your desires, not tell you what you need to hear. In Islam, in the Sharia law, if a woman know a man is poor and she marry him under those conditions, knowing that he's not rich, that his maintenance is going to be little, he's not rich. In Islam, once she marry him, she cannot ask for a divorce. If a man lied and said he was rich or he had money, he had such a situation, and she married him and found he doesn't have these things, he has lesser, then she has a right for divorce in Islam. But you sisters don't study religion, and that's one of the reasons why the marriages don't work with you, because you're lacking knowledge in Islam and Islamic law, Islamic fiqh about marriage. Only thing about marriage that most African American sisters know is Babul Khulla, related to the woman asking for Khulla, and you don't even understand that correctly. Don't even understand that correctly. So, sisters, if a brother is religious, he has money, he has finances, he has deen, he's religious, do you think he's going to get himself in a scenario with a sister who's been married a few times, have a few kids, all the children are somewhat young and small, big and small, especially young children, the first thing comes to that man's mind, you got small children, why you not married? Something is wrong. Something is wrong with that picture. Now, some brothers, they lust after women. And because they lust, they get duped. A lot of brothers, you lust after women. She got a big behind. She got big breasts. She got this. And you get yourself caught up. You just set your own selves up. So women, sisters, now you can't play these games no more. How long you gonna play these games? Sisters, I can't play these games no more. Especially you got female children. Because the first example for the female child is her mother. Her first teacher is her mother. If my mother a long time ago, my mom drive me crazy, to be honest, right? And my mother, may Allah guide her to Islam, but she don't have good manners with men. You know? And I didn't understand that for many years. Until I found out a few years ago why she's like that, right? Because she had a very bad incident when she was young with one of her family members. So my mom has very bad manners with men, and that's because of some trauma she went through when she was young. So I used to tell my mom, the way she talked, the way she behaved, that one day she's going to find herself alone. She's not going to find a husband. She's not Muslim. I say, ain't no man going to want to be with you. And you say, oh, I don't want to be an old woman cleaning no man dirty drawer. That's how I answer, right? Then she said, oh, Jesus is her husband. I said, Jesus can't be your husband. First, he's not God. Jesus is not with you. You can't marry Jesus, so he can't be your husband. And that's a sign when women start talking about, Christian women talking about Jesus, her husband, that sounds like she got some trauma, some mental health issue, and some trauma in here. Or she been dogged out by some guy, and she got trauma in here. And when she talking about Jesus, her husband, I already understand where that come from, right? So you sisters, if you're not married, or you can't keep a husband, and a brother comes by who got sense, who got mind, he can see you got a whole bunch of kids, or you got a few kids, and you've been married a few times, and you got all these type of list of things you want from the marriage. If you're gonna give me one of these lists, wallah, you come with one of these lists, I'll be very honored. I'll go for that white Muslim woman who got the racist family members before I go to you. I will definitely go to one of these Arab countries, the poor Arab countries, one of the Arab women before I go to you. I definitely go to Africa before I go to you. I definitely go to one of them Pakistani women with my kids most likely would never deal with their grandparents before I go to you. Because the woman, she ain't gonna make the whole type of stipulation. She ain't gonna come with no list or whole type of stipulation stuff y'all be coming with. And then most likely that woman from that other culture, she ain't coming to the marriage of no kids. Most likely, especially in the Arab culture, especially in their culture, she gonna be a bikr. She's gonna be a virgin. She comes to the marriage already knowing what her duties are. That's part of their tarbiyah in these Islamic countries, this education Islamic country. The women are learned or taught from very young. When she's talking about marriage, he's really talking about marriage. She understands what the marriage is really about. Unless her family's not religious and they're not religious at all, that's a whole different story. If the family's religious, even if they don't have religious knowledge, like one of my wife's family members one day, she don't have a lot of ilm in their religion, right? But I could tell that, my wife's sister, she's way older than my wife. She's even older than her mother. Her father was like an old man having kids. So he has like other wives he had who died before him. So he got older children, right? Older daughters. So we went to one of their house one day. And I just show you that the women understand marriage and woman position. So I asked her one day her granddaughter, who's a teenager. And it's like, I don't see her, right? I don't see her. She's like, she's coming home from school now, school time. I said, they get out of school now? She's like, yeah. She said, she's not going to be late. She'll be here soon. Because my wife was asking, she's not going to be late. And I was like, what she mean she's not going to be late? She looked at me. My wife's sister's like in her 60s. She says, no, she don't. She's not going to be late. No. She come 1 minute late. She said, it's just like this. She said, 1 minute late? Why she be late from school? Unless she talking to some boy in the street? Oh, man, she not coming here in this house late. Huh? So they know from young. She said, huh? Oh, no, she come late? No. She's like this to me. She come late? No, don't play this. And I'm laughing, but she's dead serious. And the daughter, maybe like 2-3 months later, if she finished school, they got her married to somebody. The women understand marriage. When a woman needs to get married. Why? prevent her from doing certain things or immoral acts to get the woman married. So the woman in that country, in that culture, they are prepared at a young age to get married. Even the marriage lasts or there's marriage problems, there's things inside the religion that's put in the religion. Woman's wali, woman's family, woman's father, these things are put there. Sheikh, the imam, government, these things are put there to help the marriage stay stable. And if there's problems, these things come together to what? Rectify the marriage. Either they're going to live well, give good advice, take the advice. If all the advice was given, then divorce is the last resort. Last. Right? So, brother, if since you come with all this list, my brother he gonna choose those things before he choose you. He gonna take his chances with those things before he see you, because at the end of the day, those kids you have are not his kids. You coming to the marriage with baggage. And the problem in American culture is that in American culture, they tell you that what you feel, what you think, your space is important. In reality, what you feel, what you think, your space is not important. It's not important at all. And I'm going to give you some good reality proof it's not important. When you go to work and you're late and you give them excuse, I was sick, I was tired, PMS, menses, your boss will, I don't care. If you breach your agreement in the job about late, you know what? You get what? Fired. They don't care. They don't want to hear the excuses. You get fired. That's the reality. That's the real world. If you go to work late, they want to hear none of that stuff. My space, my time, my feelings. I don't care. Some jobs, you get in an argument, clients, other workers, you're in the wrong, or somebody's in the wrong, you get what? Recommended. You get in trouble. You get in problems. Might even get what? Fired. Oh, well, so-and-so did this, so-and-so. They don't care. You did to perform a work. So what you feel in reality don't matter. And that's the problem in American society. Many of us is fed this junk in our school. And education was fed this junk. But the white people who was fed us this junk, and they go into society and talk about my space. See what happened. My space, my feelings, your feelings are important. When they go to the real world, that stuff don't mean nothing. You go to get a degree, go to college, you got an education, you go to work now. Oh, my feelings, my ideas, man. There's people in your company say, oh, we all thought about those ideas. It don't work. Oh, I was watching a TV program, a black guy on the Shark Tank. And when I seen it, it hit me real hard. They saying to the guy he invented an app. He didn't invent the app. He's made an app, and it tells you what restaurants that are inside the airport. So this black guy who is a single, grew up in a single home, black mother. He even had his mama. in the back of the program there with him, mama's boy. You told he grew up by a single mom. Because I know I was raised by a single mother. He's raised by a single mom. But he didn't get no reality check. So he went there and they gave him some criticism that was crucial and very important about his product. They said, you really don't have a product. He said, everybody got the same app. He said, if you don't have no license and no contract with any airports, so no one else could come and do the same thing, he said, there's no money in your business. And they gave him some real critical criticism that benefited him to make his product better. So there's none of them would invest in him. He kept on talking about, oh, but I went to college, I memorized this, I did that, I did this, and it's like, oh, that sounds real nice story, but your product is nothing. And he couldn't take the criticism. He started crying in the backstage with his mama. And I said, you know how many black homes are like this? These single mom homes are like this? I'm going a little bit off topic. But black people, we don't really realize and sit these things and see the dysfunction that the society has created with us. This guy, he grew up from that generation. When I went to school, the same thing. all about I. That's why our marriages is not working, because when you marry, it's no longer about I, it's about us. It's no longer about me. It's about my kids first, then I. Children first, then I. I remember a brother got married, he has a second wife, and he moved, and I'm looking, and I'm seeing his children, his sons and stuff, so they really need their father with them. If he go away too long, and he don't bring his family together, he's going to have problems with his sons, because the sons, especially teenager boys, need their father to discipline them, because their mamas can't discipline them. Sometimes we need to put our families first, not about I. So this whole list, sisters be writing for marriage. I've been looking at these things. Needs this, that. All of them is really about I. Now I go marry somebody else in another country before I marry you. I go to Indonesia or Malaysia to marry before I marry you. Why? I go to Indonesia, for example, Indonesia, the woman understands from the beginning of the marriage, even in discussion, religious woman, from there, already coming, she have Quran. She understands everything. They prepare the woman for marriage and taking care of babies. They prepare the woman for family, not I. They prepare the woman for us, family, not I, not self, the family. So the woman, she comes, she has understanding about babies, what to do with babies and stuff, what to do for the husband, how to cook. Not about just her, about the babies and taking care of children. She comes to the marriage with these ideas already in her mind. But us, in our culture, no. It's all about I. So we have in America this disease in our culture. Some of it's doing with white supremacy, as I mentioned before. Black people was never given an economical institute. We was never really given that. We had to structure that ourselves. And then when we did structure for ourselves, the white government destroyed it. And I'm going to say the governments, because you go look up COINTEL. See what COINTEL was about. Some people think COINTEL was only against the Black Panther Party. Those black revolutions, movements that were about strong arming guns and all that stuff. No. Don't believe the hype. They was also against those non-violent civil rights movement. You will find that in COINTEL. Go to FBI. It's part of, Freedom Information Act. I used to go and read the file on FBI. Put up civil rights. Go look it up in their search. Look at all the things they was under COINTEL program. They were surveillance and they sabotaged. Actually sabotaged and destroyed. And was spying on even those groups that was non-violence. They were spying on all of them. What that has to do with Islam? As somebody would say. Especially somebody that don't understand the black experience in America. What I got to do with Islam? That got a lot to do. Because it shows you openly that you have enemies who hate you because of your skin color. If they spied on Martin Luther King Jr., he was nonviolent. Oh, I have cases on Martin Luther King Jr. They assassinated the man. They have a case. His family has a case. They won in civil court that the U.S. government was responsible for his death. They assassinated him. Many of us don't know about this. Why they killed this man? He was nonviolent. They want to destroy all black movements. So they destroyed our leaders. And you notice we don't have no leaders in America no more. Matter of fact, we don't even know how to follow leadership. Or how to make a leader. Or how leaders should be. Or have community or economics. All this was structured by the government for blacks. And that's why they push individuality, I, not us. As a group of people, they always push about I. You can go to college, you can do it for yourself, and they tell the woman, the black woman, oh, you don't need a man to take care of you, huh? But you didn't come in the world just for you by your mama. You didn't come in the world just for your mama. Sex, you can't have sex with yourself and get pregnated. So you think their agenda in no form or fashion affect us? Many of us, we think it can't happen to I. That's the problem also. Many of us think it can't happen to I. I'm too special. I'm light skinned. I have this college degree. I have this job. I have this wealth. I have this money. It can't happen to me. It's happening to you. So to let certain individuals get to certain financial levels and stuff, but us as a group of people, they would never let us go that far. And some of the ways how they're destroying the black home and us destroying the home through where the wife, the man, or the husband and the wife, through the women and through the children. Oh man, the children are getting the worst now. The next generation of kids, because I have small boys, oh man, they done off. I got to make a decision between this year and next year what I'm going to do with my kids. Either got to get a second job to get more money to put my kids in the private school, or I got to send my kids back to my wife's country so they can get educated. Because the boys now, they're pushing that gay, homosexual stuff hard now. So the next 10 to 15 years, you're going to find more black men homosexual. Especially those households, the one woman mothers, single mother raising kids and got boys, they're going to be the first groups of people they're going to get suckered into that. Because they ain't got no man in the house. Or if they don't got a real man in the house, somebody who's just mooching off the moms, those kids are going to get suckered in. Those boys are going to get suckered in. But many of us, we're not here. We're not in tune. We're not in tune into this. This is not in tune. See, Islam was made, or Allah revealed Islam to educate us. Look at the first ayat to reveal. Iqra bismi rabbika. Iqra. قال Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Iqra. What Iqra means? Iqra is al-amr fi lugha Arabiya. First, it's a commandment. Iqra in lugha Arabiya is a commandment. Iqra, read, is related to knowledge. What type of knowledge? Man allama al-insan. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He the one who taught mankind. So the Quran we have here, and the Sunnah we have this. So the Quran and Islam shouldn't be something that keep us stagnated. It should be the one to open our eyes so we can see. See, Islam is not about this kufi. Because I could take this and never wear this again, and I'm still Muslim. I could take this jalabiya off. And I'm still Muslim. My name is legally Muhammad. I can make my name James, and I'm still Muslim. So it's not about the clothing or the cloak. It's not about these cloaks and these clothing. It's about understanding the book and practicing it, the Quran, and understanding the Sunnah and implementing it so it can open the mind. So if we, in our structure in America, as being black, African American, Muslim men and women, if we can't make it work together between me and you, look how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created things in pairs. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He created everything in pairs. Look at the wisdom. Majority of the wives of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam were from his peoples. Don't you think that we're going to have to sooner or later start learning to deal with each other? I'm sorry. Some of us brothers, especially myself, I have to hear this. Hey, if we don't marry these women, our own women, who's going to marry them? And I'm going to tell you who's going to marry you, sisters, because I see it. Those guys who need the green card and American citizenship, they're going to marry you. And they're going to go through you. They're going to take your BS for a short time. Soon they get their stuff, they're going to disappear. I've seen in the past women come to the masjid, black women come to the masjid, oh, they married this foreigner. And I ain't saying any specific country, I said foreigners. He got his green card, he got his citizenship now, and he just disappeared. Oh, he just disappeared on me. Oh, he disappeared on you, sister. Oh. Not one sister, not two sisters, not three sisters, 4, 5, 6 sisters. Me sisters, my sister told me I don't want to marry no black American men, they no good. So I look at all her kids. I said, hey, I'm looking at your children. You have kids, have 2 or 3 of them are American, their fathers are black, and the rest of them, all their fathers are foreigners. She like foreign men. One of them is Italian, one of them is 2 of them are Arab. I said, okay, black men problems? Let's get, where these kids, where their father at? The kids whose father is not black, where they at? She can't say nothing. I said, where their fathers at now? I said, Arab men, they love their children. They love male children too. Where they father at? I said, the problem is not the black man, the problem is you. But we don't want to hear these things. See, we learn in American culture, which is destroying us. I feel, my space, my idea, I. And it's about us. So that's why our marriages is not working. When you get in problems, first look at I. When I get in problem with one of my wives or my wife, the first thing I do is look at I. What sin I commit? When the problem hits me, bam. Anything, marriage, now ladies and married, when the problem hits me, I say, oh, my sin, I did that sin. I know that was haram what I did. I looked at that thing which was haram. I said something which was haram. I did something which was haram. I ate something which is haram. I wore something which was haram. And this is my punishment. So when the many things in my relationship with my spouse, let me make tawbah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and stay away from that sin. When you get in problems, first look at I. Don't put the finger off of somebody else. When the problem now was problems in the marriage, it's never I, it's the other person. Because it's all about my space, my thoughts, my feelings, my apartment, my house, my car, my degree, my woman, my father, my this, my mind, my friends. I heard it all. I hear it all. My apartment, my mortgage, my car, my job, my college degree, my tuition. That's all I hear in a marriage process. All I hear. I feel, I want. Huh? I never hear us. And when you say about us, oh, more problems. This is destroying. This is what destroying many of us. Destroying our marriages. Facebook destroying many marriages. People don't want to talk about that. Facebook destroying people's marriages. So there's a lot of dilemmas that I put. I already made this video for black brothers, American brothers, African American brothers who are Muslim, who are religious. There's some brothers I don't consider them religious. There's some brothers who want to be religious or practice Islam, but they don't want to marry no religious Muslim, black Muslim women. Wow, they rather go get to the kuffar Christian woman before they marry a black Muslim woman who wear hijab. They rather get the Christian woman before they wear you. And I met some small group of brothers like this, and I have to analyze and sit and think, what's wrong with this brother? But you hear them, listen them out. Zaki, they just want everything about themselves. It's all about themselves. It's all about their desires. All they care for you paying them rent. I'm like, Aki, you got to provide for your wife. But see, yo, I'm broke, man. I don't want to commit zina out there. It's all I could pay for the rent. It's all I have. These women, they want this and that. I said, I'd rather go get these Christian women who are going to come to the table half and half. I said, yeah, but your kid's going to grow up kuffar. But they don't see it that way until it hits them. It happens. They start having kids with these women. They come out kuffar. But they turn around and say, yeah, but these sisters, they don't want to come to the table. All it is about what they want and this, and you just paying rent, and they behaving the way they behave, and that's all. That's what it's all about. And in reality, that's true. If it's just about I, when time for deen? Why don't change the I to Qala Allah? Change the I to Qala Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Change the I to Qala Sahab. Change the I to Qala Sheikh Fulan. And change the I to us. Ana la nahnu. When you look at the word ahli, or the words for family, usra, a'li, ahli. In other words, trying to think of them right now, it's not based upon individual, one person. Show me an Arabic language where the word family is related to one person. Even in the English dictionary, the word family is related to one person. Family. Spouse. Is a spouse within the word spouse? Is talking about individual? What's related to the word spouse? I can see somebody's spouse. We can understand, okay, that's an individual. Or an individual in a relationship with the opposite sex. Who's married. And somebody say spouse, married. So the spouse is an individual word related to somebody who is married to somebody else. So there's no word I. The marriages can't be I. If we don't want to swallow the advice and take these type of advices, then you will never find the solution. I don't care how many times you get this, special speaker who looks good, brother who's very handsome. He looks very nice hair, gives talks teaching women and all this stuff. There's no problem with that. But in reality, if you don't accept what Allah say, you will never find a solution. إن الله لا يغير ما بقوم حتى يغيروا ما بأنفسهم. Indeed, Allah does not change the condition of people till they change the condition of themselves. So we don't take the heed of these things and these advices and look into the Quran and the Sunnah, then we're going to have problems. If I can't learn Islam unless it comes from this particular personality or personalities, if I can't learn the Islam except from these personalities and not from the Book of Allah and the Sunnah of the Messenger Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, you're going to have problems always. And then the thing about problems with African American peoples, our problems, is that our kids inherit our problems. Or look at kids now, right? So I look at kids now and they teens and younger. Some of their dress changed from how we used to dress in the 90s. People in the 80s and the 90s used to dress, right? But some of the social ills that black people have, I can remember from the 80s and the 90s, because I'm only 39. I can see the kids now, in this generation now, teenage kids now, they have the same social ills. It's like they inherit all the ignorant stuff that our peoples and trends that we had. Our kids are inheriting all these social ills. A girl mother, she had her daughter, she was not married, and her daughter then she has this child, and she gets pregnant and doesn't have a husband. The mother gets her mother, has a baby and not married. Then her daughter has a baby and she's not married. Plus, I forget to mention the plus some. And plus, inherit other things like HIV. We won't talk about that. AIDS. People don't want to talk about that. That's the reality. AIDS. Another reality. Maybe that's another video for another day. Can that topic take it off? That would take us off the topic. So the dilemma for us brothers, I make this video about to close it out. The dilemma for us brothers is that, how you get a wife? How you get married? Take from the Sunnah first. What Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala recommend, what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam recommend. The religious woman, the woman who fear Allah, the woman who has taqwa, the woman who has the loving heart. Don't marry women for looks. Because a lot of time, brothers, when we marry these women for looks, that's all you get. You got a woman who look good and have no deen. I was listening to some sheikh in Egypt because they know the dilemma of Arab men. They love white women. Love it. They love white women. Well, I had one teacher, he's Arab, and he told me, he gave me a scenario. He's like, a white face is not common in Arab country like in Egypt. He said you got a lot of brown faces, so you see a white face, you want it, it's desirable. I was like, A'udhu billahi. It's almost astaghfirullah. I said, that's marad, sickness. I said, in Egypt, you got more brown faces, right? So imagine all you Egyptian men, you want white face. What happened to the brown faced women? Who's going to marry them? Marad fi qulubi rijal. So the sheikh one says, okay, one sheikh in Egypt, he said, yes, you can have white women. He said, yeah, what happened? You get white woman, no deen. They know the sheikh, he know his peoples. Sheikh said, yeah, you get the white woman who has no deen. Married woman who has deen. Is she white? Okay. Make sure she have deen. I always say to the Egyptian guys, you want white face? White. Majority of faces in Egyptian women, it's not white women. They're not white skin. So who the woman, the brown skin, light brown, who want to marry these women? Marad fi qulub. This is from colonialism. من فرنجة. يفكر هو فوز بامرأة المرأة البيضاء. I think he is fawz, successful because he has white women. Even Arab have this understanding with them due to colonialism. So back to our peoples. How do us men have the dilemma? How do you fix it? I think the way to fix these dilemma within our culture, within our community, it has to be from education, religious education. And I think that our women really lacks religious education. You know, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you know, he started out with Tawheed, teaching about the oneness of Allah, the people having a relationship with Allah, how to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know, I've seen a few brothers make a video, make Tawheed a reality of your life, and that hit the hammer on the nail. Many of us don't make this deen. Tawheed is part of our deen. We don't make it a reality in our lives. Islam is just, like I said, it's just only a dress. A beard or a kufi is just the dress to many of us only. The Muslim names, fancy Muslim names, but it's not the reality of our life or our spiritual life or our hearts or our intellect, how we think and how we drive, and our passions. This is why we have sisters having problems. And I think women are the weaker in the society due to how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created them. And if the sisters don't think they're weak, then you need to read Quran. الرجال قوامون على النساء بما فضل الله بعضهم على البعض. Allah said this in Quran, and the men gave a position over the women. So there's somebody, weaker people in society that the man must protect. Like women and children that the men must protect. So they are the weaker ones in society. So that means that they are hit the worst from the scenarios that I mentioned about in America. Feminism, white supremacy, kufr, I forgot to say that, and kufr, wa dalala, and the strainers. You know, because a lot of our sisters, we don't understand Islam properly. We don't understand nothing about Islam. We don't even understand the hijab itself or the origin of the hijab. Do not understand hijab properly. Somebody who understands the origin of the religion, the foundation of the religion, the asl Islam or asl deen. Understand Islam when masail, from its principles. It is going to do nothing but produce good from the women in society. So a lot of our black religious brothers, our dilemma when it comes to marriage. Remember, you have a lot of people who hate you, dislike you, and this is just need to be said. People don't like black people. You don't know, in every society, I don't care, even in the Arab country, black is something that is disliked. Black or something that is disliked. Even though you go to these countries, you'll find people who want to marry, women who want to marry somebody black. Especially like poor Arab countries, you'll find they're women, they're interested in marrying somebody black. You'll find me because hip hop and TV and American TV and stuff. They see things they like black men's swagger. That's the word, I think, swag. They like this. Some they do, trust me, they do. They like this, some of them. They like that, right? So that's not the issue there, right? But in some cultures, people look down at black people. And some of the people who look down at black people or black men, in general, there's some deficiency with these peoples. There's something that within themselves, they're weak in. There has deficiency in most of the time. But we have to be very mindful, us black men, about marriage and who we marry and how we marry. We can't forget our women. Many cases, me, and I see black Afro-American, I don't want to marry them. Many cases, I try to put my people's experience that I see dealing with them. It's hard to find a real decent one. Really hard. I live in New York. It's very hard. And if she's very decent, very good, mashallah, tabarak, these women, like I said in other videos, they get married very quickly, mashallah. So I always tell brothers, they want to marry from black brothers who are black and marry a woman from here that's good, religious, their own peoples, get your monies right. Because woman in her brain, in her psyche, how she think, security. After religious things about the man, having the religious things, the next thing is security. This is how Allah created the woman. She wants the man to be secured and his finances able to maintain her. Right? So when the brother, you want to marry some sister, she's black, get your finances right, get your business right, handle your business. And then those women, you can find the religious ones from amongst them. But when you're trying to go shortcuts and shorthands, you get these sisters who got these problems. And some of the sisters who've been married a few times and who got marital problems. A lot of times in your cases, not all of you, but a lot of time in your cases, because you didn't listen to your fathers. You didn't listen to your brothers. You didn't listen to your wakil. You listen to by I, and you get some brothers no good. Then the decent guy, you get divorced, and the decent guy come along, you don't even know what's decent. You don't want the decent guy. You don't even know how to choose a decent guy. You don't know how to choose a decent guy. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made the man over the woman. That's what the Prophet ﷺ said in the hadith. لا زواج إلا بولي يقول كلمات ولي ثلاث مرات في نفس hadith. The Prophet said in one hadith 3 times there's no marriage except with wali. All in America, all the Muslim women go look for all the weak da'if hadith. I can be my own wali. What? I want to be married before I can be her own wali. Oh, you a faqih now? You study fiqh? You read this fiqh opinion? You didn't read this, the weakest of all opinions, and majority of scholars reject it. You didn't read that, did you? If you're gonna study fiqh and mention things about fiqh views, do you have to talk about what all the scholars say? But you're not a faqih. You're not into telling them, oh, you're not into seeking knowledge. So how you all know these weak opinions? You follow the opinions that follow your desires and your whims. And then you get into problems. Our Muslim sister came to me one day and she said she's the wali of this other sister. I was just laughing at her. She said, I'm her wali. I said, you're not her wali. The woman's not the wali. The woman is not the wali. Even though it's a fiqh opinion, which is very, very weak, that a woman's mother could be her wali. And that's a very weak opinion. I believe it's from the Hanafi fiqh. It's a very weak opinion. The majority of scholars reject in this case. But in some scenarios, the woman's mother could be her wali, but that's a weak view, and I don't accept that. The wali must be the man, because the man has some type of wisdom, he knows about other men. Women don't know about men. You're not sitting in circles of men. Men know about men. You could come in, you could tell me, you could come to some brothers, you could come to me, a woman could come to me, or somebody could come to me and know this guy, he's honest or not. Men can tell you about men. You can say, yeah, this guy, he's a bum, man. This guy, he's good. This guy, he's honest. This guy, he keeps too much to himself. He got too many secrets going on. We don't know, man, about this guy. This guy, oh yes, he's religious. He got a job. He prays. Men know about men. Women don't know nothing about men. You don't know what we talk about in our circles. So this is why the man is the wali over the woman, because he know about other men. Just like me, personally, I don't want to know what's going on about women and stuff. I asked my wife one day about her sister. Her sister had a friend. I said, oh man, she looks very interesting for marriage and stuff. My wife, she's jealous and stuff. She said, oh man, this woman, she don't pray. I said, nah man, she pray, man. She gotta pray, man. Look at her. She wear niqab and stuff. She said, what? She's like, man, there's a lot of women here, they wear niqab. There's a lot of women, they wear niqab and don't pray. I didn't know that. Because I'm not in a circle now. I'm not in the circles with women and stuff. She's like, yeah, man, there's a lot of women, they wear niqab. And they don't even make no salah. I said, for real? She's like, yeah, man. She said, that sister, man, she didn't even pray. I said, you just saying that because you don't want me to marry her. She said, no, for real. She tell us, we got to tell her, we got to be mom. She come to visit us to make salah. I said, oh, I didn't know that. She's like, yeah, man. I said, she wear niqab. She's like, yeah, but she don't pray. So women know about women. They're not the Messenger of Allah, sallallahu, when women used to come and ask him for marriage, and he used to study the sunnah. The Prophet used to say another woman to see, smell her breath, smell her hair, talk about her hygiene. Go, women can tell about other women and stuff. Go see. Huh? This is wisdom in these things, you know. But I like to end this video, inshallah, because my iPad's about to go dead, and I really wanted to make this talk for brothers, because a lot of us African American brothers, we didn't really sit down and really think about marriage. And I really think, especially brothers in the Talibah, oh man, you need to marry women that's going to benefit you in your knowledge. Because a lot of the social ills of our Western culture, a lot of these women here is not going to benefit you in your Talibah. And then you have a lot of sisters who will benefit you in your Talibah. It's just you have to be very patient, and your maintenance must be there in some form or some fashion. You know, and then there's some brothers, you know, maybe you need to go overseas. You two really to the Almiya stuff. You want to be deep into the Almiya, not want to be, are into the knowledge stuff. You know, sometimes you get married over there, or you're traveling overseas, and you get married there. Sometimes it would benefit you in your Talibah, especially if it's a woman. Herself, she's into Talibah. This would benefit you in a lot of ways. If she's from here and she's from here, also, you want to get married, you into seeking knowledge and stuff, because majority of the people I encounter with are to some form of fashion to seeking knowledge. And I'm going to tell you straight up, you need to marry a woman to Talibah, because if you marry a sister who's not into Talibah, she's going to take you away from it, because she want to be outside. She wants to chase the fads and trends and people the sisters be doing, you know, go to this program, that call out, this food program, this social event. She want to go to all these social events. She want to be seen. She want to go talk, and that stuff take you away from your time from studying and stuff. You got to go with her. You got to take her there. You got to take her here. Then you got to go shopping. You got to go for the kids. You know, marrying to a woman to seeking knowledge. The woman, if you're deep into seeking knowledge, don't marry a woman that's not into seeking knowledge, because this is a waste of your time. Your marriage is definitely not going to last. Because you can be saying call Allah, call Rasul. She can be like, who? You can say Mustafa alayhi salatu salam. She can be like, who's Mustafa? I'm dead serious. That's serious. You're going to be talking about call Allah. You're going to say what Allah is. You're going to be talking about, some sheikh she heard. Some sheikh she heard on the internet. Some dude on the internet. Numan Ali Khan, what he said. You know? You're going to get to this type of women. You're going to be talking about some big sheikh Allah from the past explaining some ayat and stuff. She's going to be like, who that? I ain't got a clue. Huh? Someone on the Mufassir. Min Zaman. Min Ulima al-Qadama. From the old past scholars, Mufassir the Quran. They're going to be mention this sheikh name, you gonna be mentioning one of these sheikhs. She be like, who that? Hold on, I never heard of that. She gonna be talking about Ahmed Didat. He a sheikh, Alam. No, come on, you know, on the real. You gotta be real, brothers, on the real. If you went to Talibah, I'm gonna marry a woman to Talibah. You know, and it doesn't mean that every woman, you know, condition of marriage is to be student of knowledge. I'm not talking about those things. The clear is the clear. What Allah makes clear and permissible, it's clear. What Allah makes haram, it is clear. The halal is clear, and the haram is clear, right? I'm not talking about the halal and the haram. I'm talking about what fits your needs. In the marriage, certain things have to fit your needs. Brothers need to just stop. Brothers, us black brothers, you need to stop just marrying any type of women. We need to marry women that fits our needs. And you have some brothers, you're not to tell them, you want religious women who obey you, obedient, and things like this, who are going to listen to you, then you have to marry religious women. And the only way for a woman to really be religious, she has to study the deen. She has to have some type of knowledge and a love for Allah, which is because she's going to have to acquire this knowledge to get this type of piety. And it's not going to come to her except with talabun, with seeking knowledge and learning. And it goes for the man also. Right? So you're not going to find a sister with this type of piety unless this piety comes from some type of learning. She might not be no big student of knowledge. She might not be no sheikha. But it's going to come to her by her itibat, following the sunnah through learning and implementing. Reality check. If she's on Facebook, if she's posting pictures, that's what you marry. If you found your wife, the sister you marry or want to marry, she's on internet posting pictures of herself, that's what you got. You are blameworthy. You know, and you sisters who post pictures of yourself, you know, on the real, man. You think some brothers who religious got his job, like the brothers I mentioned, some of my companions, you know, I mentioned, for example, they have money, they have job, and how hard they're working for their marriage and stuff. You really think a man would want to marry a woman who's putting pictures of herself on Facebook? Who show her pictures when she was a disobedient slave of Allah? Her pictures of her wearing tight pants and no hijab, and another picture is her with the hijab on. You really think some religious man going to marry you? You need to be setting yourself up to marry some guy who want to take advantage of you. And only some man who's not religious is going to marry you. Only a man who's not religious is going to marry you. Or a man who's fixed on following his shahawat, his desire. That's all you're going to get when you post those pictures. You ain't going to find no God-fearing man. Just recently allowed women come on my friends list. Just recently. Wallahi, a lot of the sisters, I was like, few of them recently. So they can get some dawah. And I have some sisters who are new to Islam, the community where I'm at. So I keep them. But there's some women who've been Muslim for a long, long time. I see them on Facebook. I add them, but I unfollow you. Meaning in your news feeds, I don't see your stuff because I can't take it. You hijab one day and no hijab and post a picture of yourself. You're going to get mad. If I tell you, fear Allah, gotta make some videos of hikmah and wisdom, give you some dawah. But you're going to be mad if I comment. Ittaqillah. Fear Allah. You get mad. You're going to fight. If somebody tell you ittaqillah, you're going to fight. You think a religious man going to marry you? If I can tell you fear Allah about showing yourself, and you say you're looking for a spouse or you're looking for a husband, just be honest with yourself. What type of man you really going to follow? You gonna those sisters who like them dudes, who like those men, they dudes, man. They got 1 foot in the masjid, 1 foot in the street. See, I could tell a lot about women by the things she posts. What type of men she like? She like them brothers. He got 1 foot in the masjid, 1 foot in the street. Or he got both foot in the street, and sometimes the tip of his toe going in the masjid. Huh? That's what you're looking for. A lot of you sisters, that's what y'all looking for. I've been listening to sisters that come to me with their marriage problems. They're looking to get married. We listen to them. That's what they're accustomed to having, and that's what they want. When they get a decent guy, he's decent, work, got educated, got a degree. Me personally, I don't have no degree from college. Me personally, I don't have a degree from college. All my learning is self.